year at the most, because once you select researcher wise, your your scope becomes really narrow. Okay, like for example, here they have given names. So if you see, if I select specific authors only, but my paper very constricted, it will become very compressed, which will not look very good on your paper. So we'll try to avoid this as of now. You can select research categories as the next filter. Now here, you can go to field of research and pick up which field you want to take it from. So for example, I know I've selected entrepreneurship, but I'm interested in, say, commerce, or I'm interested in information and computing. Okay. Now you will notice when you go into more, it's possible that not everything you are looking for is available in these fields of research. You can actually go over here and enter the keyword. Supposing I'm specifically looking for entrepreneurship and finance. Okay. So what's going to happen when I select this is it will give me options related to finance also. Okay. So you can select that in that situation so that you can have multiple fields put together. If it's a multidisciplinary kind of a research where you want entrepreneurship and education to go together, you can select that as well. Okay. Right now, I'm not selecting too many categories, or I just take one perhaps and keep it that way. Or I'll take applied economics or something like that. Then there is something called as sustainable development goals, because now a lot of papers and a thesis and everything, they're asking for a social angle to your this thing. So they've given that as an option. It's completely up to you if you want to select the same or not. The next filter is publication type. Okay, so you can select if you want it to be an article, or you want it to be a chapter or a proceeding from somewhere, or you want it to be an edited book or something. You have the option to select that. Either all of them, any one of them, either way, it's fine. Now, this is very important. Source list. Okay, these are some of the journals which are, and they have been kept in a descending order, starting from the journal which has got maximum relevant research papers to the fields and area of research that you have chosen. So you can pick out the ones that you want, or you can select all of them probably. If you do not select any, what happens? If you don't select any, if you see the number over here, it's the higher number. But if I keep on selecting, that number will keep getting lesser. Now that might make an impact on the cluster and how it appears in the end. So be careful while selecting anything. Okay. Then comes your journal list. Okay. So you have these many filters. Now you can select, I want to select a UGC CARE journals. I want to select open access based journals only. I want to select PubMed journals. If you put more, there'll be other options which can be shown. Okay. I want to select UGC journal list group 1 and so on. So I've chosen some of these options only. If you do not select any options, you will have all of them coming up. Okay. For now, I am deselecting this because I want to show you without making it narrow, how will your cluster appear. Okay. And then within open access, also you can select a few options that you want. So here you can go for all open access journals. You can select closed also. Now, what will happen if you select closed and all of these things? They will still be a part of your, so what will happen is you will not be able to open the PDF or download. For example, here, because these are open access, I'll be able to click on this, go to the PDF, and I've also been able to download the PDFs of research papers to refer to them at a later date. But when I go straight away to Scopus and download their list, okay, like here I'm using Dimension, but if I was to take it from the Scopus database, what would happen is a lot of the papers are going to be a paid paper. So I can just see the abstract, but I will not be able to read the internal content. So my work sort of gets, it gets hindered over there. That is why I'm choosing these things. Okay. Nevertheless, the good part is, even if you're not able to open the PDF Yes, I'm sorry. We have terrible rains over here because of which my connection is getting interrupted. So now I've shifted to another source. Okay, fine. I'll begin again. So is my screen visible again?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sure.
Yes.
Thank you. So now, like I said, I've applied all these filters and now I'm going to click on limit to. If you don't do that, these filters will not be applied. So once I do this, if you see, the number has reduced a bit. No, not drastically because I have not used a lot of filters, while doing. And how will you know whether the filters have been applied? You can see them here. So I've taken the years and I've taken all of this. Okay. So this is how it's going to be. You see entrepreneurship and so on and so forth. If you want it to be narrower, you can add more terms also over here. Okay, so you can add more terms while doing it, while searching itself. Okay, so I want entrepreneurship and I also want to put, say, microfinance over here. So I can add that as well into the search sections. Okay, like I said, right now I'm not adding that. Also, one more trick which I can tell you is, supposing you're not so much concerned with the number of papers, but you're concerned with papers which are really very close to your research topic or title or whatever. So is the voice okay now? I think I got your message. Voice went.
Oh, it was before. It is
Okay.
clear now.
Yeah, no problem. So what you can do is you can also put your entire research title over here. Okay, you can take your topic as it is and put it into the search bar. What's going to happen then is the publications which are very close to what you have entered will come down to a very small score. And then for trial and error, you can keep on removing one variable from the title. So you will come closest to whatever topic you're doing your research on. That's one trick you can actually try. Okay. So let us move ahead with this. So supposing these are the filters which I have applied. Now, how do I actually export this data? Okay, because I will require it in the CSV format to be able to implement it in my bibliometric software. Okay. So what do I do for the same reason? I go into save or export, go to export results, and here it will ask for you for these options. Okay. So export full record. Now I will explore the other option a little later. For now, I'm just going to this particular option. Ensure it is in the CSV format only, and you can click on export. Okay. Now, if you see over here, the export process has already started. Now, how do you rush this process quicker? You can go into your account. So when you have logged in, you can go over here if it is visible to you. Okay. Where you have logged in, you will have and over here, you go into export center. Okay. Once you select that, it will show you the ones that you can download. Okay. So this is the latest one that I've put on right now, right? So number of years and all the sections that I've chosen. My filters are open access, closed, gold, bronze, hybrid, everything. And then I click on download. Okay. So then your file is going to get downloaded in a particular location. Okay. For easy access, you can take it to your desktop. I'm sorry, I just opened it from here. Okay. Yeah, just closing that. Yeah. So it has gone to my download. What I suggest is please open the file, take the CSV file, copy it, and keep it on your desktop for easy access. Okay. Yeah, so paste it somewhere. I'm just yeah. Okay. So my dimensions file is over here. The title will be more like dimensions publication along with the date when it has been downloaded. Because for all those who are using it heavily, there'll be a lot of dimensions files seen everywhere. So please, based on the date, you'll come to know the latest file you're working on currently. Okay. Now that this file has been downloaded, my next step would be to go to the WASP. I'm just showing you the initial steps, okay? Because, if I start doing the entire downloading process, it might take time. So you can just go to, or you can just type in WASP Viewer download. Okay, this is what you will get. Then click on this, download WASP Viewer. And it will give you these options. Okay, so you can select the one which is for Microsoft Windows, or if you have a Mac system or whatever, you can choose according to that. I have clicked on this. Once you click on this, okay, it will get downloaded and your application file will look something like this. Okay, so 1 minute. If I have to start from showing you how to do that part one. Yeah, so I already have a WAS viewer open over here. Once you open it, it's going to appear like this. Okay. So let me start afresh on this one. Just give me a minute. I'm just closing a previous file. There's too many of them open right now. Right. Yeah. So when I went to this, if I put in my search screen, WAS viewer, there's some problem in loading that. Just give me one minute, please. Okay. So if I'm downloading it, it'll come in my downloads, and then I have to go into the file. And there is already a file which I have downloaded. So this is how it's going to appear. Okay. So you go into WAS viewer. In my download history, I have one. So this is how it will look. Yeah, I hope it is clear here. Then if you see this, there's an application file for WAS viewer, right? So click on this and just run the file. It's as simple as that. Yes, run, and your WAS viewer will open. So nothing more difficult, like nothing very technical to do in this scenario. Now, once this WAS viewer opens up, the screen will look like this. Just give me a few seconds. It's just buffering to open up. And I started from scratch so that, if for somebody who is just beginning, they'll also come to know from the very beginning how to open that WAS viewer and everything. Yeah. So this is how the screen will actually appear. This is a fresh screen of a WAS viewer. I had to close down the earlier screens, and that's why it was giving a trouble. Now you go to create. Okay. For now, I'll show you two ways of actually conducting your bibliometric analysis. One is we are going to use the text data. That means based on the actual textual content of those paper, it will be able to summarize and show you. And second thing in today's session, I hope I'm able to wrap up also the based on bibliographic data, how it will show you a cluster. Okay, so let's begin with the first option first, which is based on the text data. Okay, so you can just note down these options somewhere. Click on next. Now you select this option because our software or our database which we have taken is from Dimension. So if you can see, the rest are for other sources. This one is for if your data is from Web of Science, or if your database is from Scopus, or if it's from Dimension, then this particular option works for you. Click on next. Now, because our database is from Dimensions, I'm going to use Dimensions only in this scenario, and I will select the file. Remember, I told you a file will be preferably keep it in the desktop so it's easily accessible to you, right? So I'm going to desktop. Yeah. And this is my dimensions file. You can see it's downloaded right now in front of you, and click on OK. Go to next. Now, for the first part which I'm trying to show is, please select these options. So title and abstract fields, because right now we are just looking at based on text, it is trying to make sense of what the paper is all about. And then select these options as well. Ignore structured abstract labels, ignore copyright statements. These are already default settings. You can try removing these and see how it works out. But these are the best possible settings that you can use, okay? Now, when you do this, it extracts the term. Extract the term means from the CSV file which you have loaded into it, it is picking up terms from that particular files, and it is trying to create a, so now, once you do this, there's a counting, you have to select which counting method. Please go for binary counting, because if you select full counting, it will also end up taking words such as and, or, and prepositions and everything, which is going to actually spoil your cluster. So you can use this. Okay, and then go to next. Now, very important part over here. While selecting your threshold, okay, now threshold means minimum number of occurrences of a term. So while creating my cluster or trying to see a trend across all the papers which I have chosen, if I'm specifically interested in seeing that those terms which are repeated at least 10 times, those papers are only to be considered for the sake of my cluster. But if you want the occurrences to be much higher, you can go on selecting manually, or you can type it in also. But as you notice, if I keep increasing my number of occurrences, say if a term is not repeated at least 20 times across all these papers, so you remember our database was around 6 lakh. So if they are not repeated that many times, it's not good enough for me. If I'm doing that, then you understand over here that your threshold becomes lesser. That means the number of papers which you finally, the number of words which you are left with. So the papers were 6 lakh. But if you're going to look at terms which are repetitive in nature across all these papers, then your number of papers for making your cluster will become less. So my recommendation to you is stick to the minimum. Yeah, sorry, there was some sound. Yeah, so I would recommend initially when you're trying or experimenting with WASP Viewer, try to take the default settings. You yourself will come to know if your cluster is becoming too big. You can start then filtering slowly and increasing or decreasing the threshold in that manner. Okay. So for now, I'm keeping it default settings over here. Now, if I keep it default settings, then the number of terms which I have to select, it is showing me is 182. So you have to choose between 182 terms which have been repeated at least 10 times across all these papers. Okay, let me just go ahead. Now it is calculating the relevancy score. If you can see here, I hope it is clearly visible to you all, this particular table which I have. You can zoom it on your screens perhaps, but here I don't have much of a choice to do. Ma'am, is it clear, the table that is visible here?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. So now if you see, not every term is really relevant to you, because this is what the software has derived based on the number of occurrences. But you obviously have control on how manually you can play around with this. Okay, so what you can do is, if I feel that maybe rural area is not relevant to me, maybe crisis is not relevant to me, so I'm just manually going to remove whatever does not work for me. You have that choice. Okay, so I'm removing some of these things which don't make sense for my sake. Okay, I've just randomly removed a few right now, but when you're doing it in detail, you can keep, doing that. Now I've chosen all of these, which I feel, so you can scroll down. Remember, they said 182, which means you will have to go ahead and scroll down to 182 terms and remove whatever is not relevant. Okay, but that's what I said. If you feel 182 is too cumbersome to go through and keep sifting through, in the beginning only, at the back, you can select the number of, you can increase the threshold more, so that your actual result becomes as closest to your study as possible and as relevant as possible. Okay, now I'm finishing this. Okay, once you're done with it, this is how your cluster appears. So what we're doing basically today is we're trying to see a visual and a tabular representation of the data, because like I told you, Bibliometric shows you a bird's eye view of how your data actually appears. How is your literature spread across decade, spread across different researchers, journals, etc. So you can see this particular cluster which has been prepared right now. Okay. Now, if you can notice here in this particular cluster, how can you possibly use this in a paper? Let me show you one paper also simultaneously, so that you know that how different authors have used bibliometric data to sort of make sense about it. Okay. So here is one such paper. Okay. And if you can see, in this particular paper, they have tried to give their clusters in this manner. Okay, to show the most relevant journals and articles and so on and so forth. Okay, I have a few more papers to show you, but before that, let me try and complete the analysis part so that it will make more sense to you. Now, this is my cluster, but you can see they're in 3 different colors. Okay, that is because if you go to this section, based on which keywords go well with which of the keywords, and those which have shown a link between them, those things have been converted into clusters. So on that basis, we never shows the number of clusters, but based on its relevancy of the keywords, the system has put together some of these clusters together. Now, if you can see in this cluster, you may feel that I'll zoom it in for you so get a clear view. if you can see, not everything is actually relevant. That's because I have not manually removed those which I felt did not make sense. But you can keep cleaning your cluster if you keep removing whatever you feel is not relevant for your study. Okay. Yes, yes. Kanika ma'am, I'll share the paper with you. I also have my own paper to show you, and I've used just visual representation. But if we have time today, I'll also be able to show you co-authorship and how you can show bibliometric map also. Okay, for now, I'm just focusing on keyword-based clusters. Okay, now how do you actually show this in your paper? All right, if you see over here, this particular cluster, you click on this, okay, and show. Okay, wait. First, I will show you how you can show the entire cluster. Supposing you want to show the full cluster to people, how can you do that? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you can go to screenshot. Okay. You can say copy to clipboard. If you don't want to copy to clipboard but want to keep this file saved somewhere, you can actually go to save and save it as a JPEG or a PNG file. Okay. But assuming I'm directly showing you right now by pasting it, I'm just doing the step directly in front of you only. So for now, I'm doing copy to clipboard. Then I can go and open. See, I've kept one rough Word file over here just to show you. So I go over here and I can just paste this particular thing. Okay. So if you can see, my cluster has come up. I'm sorry, this cluster has come based on what my view was selected. Let me just do it all over again. Just do it. Yeah. So this is my cluster. I just missed the view. And don't worry, I just did this right now. But if you tend to miss the view, you can actually move it sideways and all of these things. So this is how you can do it. You can take it sideways. You can increase the zoom in or whatever. Now, once I'm done with this, I just go over here, screenshot, copy to clipboard. Now, usually what it does, no, the whatever image is visible on the screen, it will capture just that for your screenshot. Okay, so that is why when I moved it on one side, only one portion was coming. Okay, so make sure that you move this right or left so that it comes in the center and it is captured completely in the screenshot. Okay, copy to clipboard and then go into any Word file and then paste it over there. Okay, so this is done. I'm going a little quick and this is how it will appear. You can actually stretch it if you want the keywords to appear a little better or whatever. You can do that. Okay, I request you all to do the trial and error as much as you can. Right now, I'm keeping it simple because of time constraints. Okay, one more thing very interesting is you can do size variations if you want things, the titles, or if you want the variables to get zoomed in a bit more. You can do the variations here. If you want them to stand out instead of in a circular form, there is something called as frames. Now, if you can select frames, these words will now become even clearer because that is more important to you rather than seeing the lines, right? So you can use this format also. Okay. You can change the color of your cluster and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, supposing you want to take it cluster wise, supposing in my paper, I have got 3 or 4 different variables and I want to show clusters separately because I felt that one of the clusters was not relevant for my studies, but I chose only one of them. You can actually go over here and say show cluster in visualization. So what it is going to do is it will only show one particular cluster. So this is my cluster 1. If I want to show the other cluster, I can just go over there to cluster 2, select the same thing and so on. Is that clear? So I've zoomed in my cluster 1. And now, if I want to only take a screenshot of just that cluster, what I can do is go here, same thing, show this cluster in visualization. Right? Now, this cluster in visualization, when you do and you go to file, it will only give you the screenshot of this particular cluster. So you can go to copy onto clipboard, same thing again, and go over here and you can paste it. Okay. So now if you can see, the focus is entirely on one particular cluster. Okay. So this is how it is going to be cluster wise. There are more things which you can go through in terms of data representation in your thesis or paper. You can actually create the overlay visualization. What does the overlay visualization mean? Based on the size of these frames or circles, you can say which of the concepts are very protruding. You can look at it and say maybe education word is standing out a lot. Now, supposing you are interested in a particular keyword only. Let me just reduce the zooming. Yeah. Suppose I'm interested only in the word entrepreneurial intention and I want to see which things are linked to just that. Maybe it is not part of a separate cluster and maybe my linkages are going across different cluster. I can actually select just this. If you take your cursor over here, it will highlight only those things which with it is showing a linkage. Is this clear to you? And last thing which I wanted to show in visual representation is how it will show the density. So you must have heard about the concept of heat map. So this one will show you heat map in the sense which are the clusters or which are the keywords which are standing out very dominantly in this whole thing. It will bring out that to the code if you go to look at it. So this is now, how does this bibliometric analysis actually help you out? Not only for visual representation, but from this now you can see, now because I have just taken random, keywords and not cleaned my data. But if I was to clean my data, I would get clearly an understanding of between lakhs of paper, which are the terms which are clearly highlighted, which trend am I seeing. Now, suppose this data has not been cleaned. But for instance, if I come to know that all those people who've spoken about entrepreneurial intention have spoken a lot about students also. That means they are talking about entrepreneurial education a lot. And that is becoming the key thing in the last 1 decade. Very interestingly, you can also compare between 2 decades and say, before government's rule came towards entrepreneurship, the last decade, what the papers were talking about, and before that rule, after the rule was implemented, what trend you are seeing in the research paper. Okay, so you can possibly do that. Yes, thank you, Dimple ma'am. So this is about it for visual representation. Let me take you to something a little more interesting now. Can we move ahead? I'll just stop this particular view and again go back to my dimension software. Okay, just give me a minute. I'm sorry, I'm just shifting between a lot of screens because I'm trying to cover as much as I can. So now over here, I'm going back to this. I'll tell you why, by the way. Now, if you see, supposing same data I have, okay, if I want to show, there is something called as showing bibliographic coupling. And if I want to show across authors, okay, if I want to pick up author-wise, which are the key ones, or if I want to show sources-wise, key sources from where data has been taken, I can do that also. So I go to export results again. If you see over here, you can select, first we selected export full record, okay. Now you will select export for bibliometric mapping because now you are specifically taking it. Earlier one was for what? It was for keyword mapping. Now you're interested in bibliometric mapping. So what difference is there? In keyword mapping, it is more interested in the actual content-wise mapping. So you can show the trends based on this. But if you're more concerned about showing more focus on citation-wise this thing, then you can go ahead and use this. Okay. So I export my data. Now, when I export this, again, same thing, you can go back to where you have logged in and go to export center. Okay. Oh, this is taking some time. Just a minute. Okay. Okay. So I'm doing one thing. I'm using the earlier downloaded data only, which I had taken for bibliometric thing. So I'll utilize that information. Fine. Now I go back to my boss viewer. And what am I going to do now? I start with create again because I'm starting afresh and trying to do something else right now. Okay. Okay. One more very important thing before I forget. Okay. Okay. Now, if you see over here, this particular data of clusters, how do you copy it down, right? Because you also require to keep some some quantitative data. You can't just show pictures and make sense out of it, right? So for that reason, you go to file, go to save, and in save, you have to sorry, just a minute. I don't know why it's not letting me share the Google Map file. Just a minute. Yeah. So supposing I am running my whole thing again because it's not letting me, because I clicked on create, while doing something. So that's why now it's not letting me do it again. Let me just finish this off fast. Yeah, just there's only one thing to remember when you're using WASP viewer is, please, so this I wanted to show you. If you can see over here, it shows occurrence, relevance, score, and everything, right? So how can I possibly get a quantitative data for my save? So for that, you go to save and you click on over here, give it a name. Okay, say for example, I'm giving it a name such as anything. So say keyword. Okay, and I save it on my desktop. Okay, just remember this thing. Now what's going to happen is it is going to save this as a text format. What am I doing? I'll show you once it gets downloaded. You'll come to know. Now in my download, or in my desktop, you see this test file over here. Okay, now what is the text file talking about? All the content which I have, all my keywords which were there, it has saved it in the form of a quantitative data, because only pictures and diagrams I cannot show in my research paper, right? So for that reason, it is showing me what is the label, what is the cluster weight, what is the link strength between these different keywords, etc., publication year, so on and so forth. Now, what do I do with this data? Okay, you can select this data. Okay, this is a large data. So I have done earlier, I've done the same thing. So I'll show you directly what I've done. You can just copy this data, open an Excel sheet. This is a rough Excel sheet I've created to show you from the scratch. Copy and paste this thing onto an Excel sheet, wrap your data. Now, the same data is appearing so clean that you can actually work on this right now, right? So what you can do currently is you can apply filters to this, or you can apply conditions, okay? And what you can do is you can try to format it in such a way where you can sort the data into the score of citation, which will then tell you that which keywords have been cited maximum times. Okay, which ones have the maximum strength when it comes to linkage between other keywords. This you can show as a table in your paper as well. Okay, now without further ado, let me go to the next part of it. I hope all okay so far. So now I'm hurriedly moving across to my next part, which was to show you the something called as bibliographic coupling. Okay, so I go back to create. Now, if you remember in the beginning, I had chosen the third option. Now for clear bibliographic data, if you see what comes into this. So in creating a map based on text data, it only talks about co-occurrence between textual data. But if I want to show co-occurrence in specific keywords, if I want to show co-occurrence in citation, if I want to show bibliographic coupling and all of that, then this can be done only with this kind of a data. Okay. So now I do next. Please bear in mind when you're selecting the second option, while downloading for dimensions also, you have to note that you are selecting that file should be for the purpose of bibliometric mapping. So select it in that way only. Okay. Then I again select the second option because this one talks about dimension software and we are using dimension software. So I go to next. Okay, I select dimension again, select my file. Okay, so now my file was on, I just hope it's here. Okay, I have so suppose this is the file that is there. Next. One minute. Okay, sorry, this file is in downloads. Okay. So over here, when I'm going into my boss viewer and I'm trying to select this one, is my screen visible? Because I saw flickering happening.
No, your screen is not visible right now.
Okay. Now, so in my downloads, again, let me just show you. Okay. right? So understand one thing. Supposing if you remember in my dimension, I had earlier chosen full record. Another one was only for bibliographic mapping. If I choose what happened right now was if you choose a full record file, it will not show these options. So I'm just informing you because it's possible that this may happen. So keep that in mind. Second problem is when you download the dimensions data as CSV, right? When you copy and paste it, it doesn't allow you to rename initially. So you will get confused between the separate and different files which are there in your desktop. So I would recommend all your previous files, once the analysis is done, shift them to some other folder so that there is no confusion happening. Now, once you do this, all this is going to be there. Now, what I'm doing is I'm selecting, say, for example, citation. If I select citation wise, it will give me the option of selecting the sources also. Now, sources are nothing but which journals I've taken it from. Okay. When I go to next, there are several options. You can explore them later. Right now, my idea is to complete at least 2-3 things which are important. 2 things which are important for today's session. Minimum number of documents of a source. That means you want from any particular journal, minimum 5 documents have to be there across those journals. Okay. So you can choose that. Rest you can keep the way you want. Like I said, when you are experimenting, I would recommend that please try to keep it, to the default settings of the software. Don't try to tamper initially. When you experiment, you will only come to know what is the best thing to do. Okay, so I'm letting it remain as it is for now. So if you see over here now, I have got the source. So all these words which I'm seeing over here are the journal names, either journal names or their article name or so on and so forth. It is showing you citations. It is showing you, again, this is in the descending, it's a mixed combination right now. But when I'm selecting my data in the text format, it is going to show in ascending and descending order. You can even apply filters, so don't worry about that. I click on finish. It will tell you some of the 76 items in your networks are not connected. Do you still want to proceed? Like I said, initially go ahead and experiment with your data. Some of the things may not make sense, but you can keep cleaning your data slowly every time. Okay. So I click on yes for now. It is processing the data. This is how it is appearing. Okay. Now, dear all, it's possible that this is not the ideal situation because I'm doing everything from scratch in front of you. Ideally, if I had chosen and cleaned my data, it would have looked better. But what is coming across in my thing is maybe this particular journal is coming across as having the maximum articles in this particular thing. Okay. And this is the network which it has made for me. However, if I choose a lot many number of papers and do a little bit of experiment, I will get a better kind of a cleaner thing. So what you should do is, now you understood how simple this is, right? So every time you can actually go back, clean your data from Dimension software, download that CSV file and try to upload a new file till you get the kind of imagery you are looking at. Okay. Again, over here, what you can do is go to items. If you see, it has made cluster again. It has made 11 clusters. And if you can see how it has made the cluster, it has put together those journals which are similar in terms of the terms that we are using. Okay. It has put those kind of journals together. Okay. If you see medical education, it has put clinical and all these things together. If you see third, this thing is spoken about journal of pharmacy. So all pharmaceutical journals have been put together. So it is actually making the cluster based on some sense. Okay. Now again, over here, if I want to save this particular file, what can I do? Same way, go to save. Okay. And it has already chosen the path which I'm saving it to on my desktop. And I've clicked on OK. Okay. The file name already exists. If you want to change the file name, because the earlier one is already there right now, you can select a different file name and you can also do it. Okay. So for now, I'm just replacing I can put my name as journals, or I can name it as sources or whatever, and I can save it as my text file. Okay. Okay. So it has been saved in my desktop. Now this is how it is going to appear. Okay. I have got a few minutes. So I want to show a paper which has used these techniques. Okay. That's why just give me 1 minute. Now this is how it appears, my journal file. So if you can see over here, it has given me name of the journals. It has given me link strength between the keywords which are there in this journal. It has given me citations. The score of citation has been given to me. So if I copy this data on my Excel sheet, it is going to show it to me like this. Okay. I've done this earlier also. So just for showing you, right? This is how it is. It has given me the journal names. It has given me the average citation score. You can actually sort them out in the order of the highest citation score, and you can take the first 10 and show it in your paper. Okay, which adds a lot of value to your. Now the good part over here is some of these journals, if you go to do it from a Scopus list, may not actually have access to you. So you may not even know what is there in them. But because of using the software, it usually covers. If you select only open access, you can actually go back to the Dimension software. So just 1 minute. Now, if I go back to Dimensions again, and I go backwards, okay, to where I was, I stopped on this particular page, right? The good part is if I keep on narrowing, and suppose I come down to 1,000 publications because I put so many filters to make it very relevant to my study, I can actually have access to most of these things. So I can just click on PDF and it will show me the full paper, and I can download and create my database. How interesting it will be to have clusters and cluster-wise papers saved in different folders for me to access. This makes your life a lot easier, right? So this is these two things I wanted to cover for today. One was when you're taking full record, only text-wise, how can cluster be formed? How can you form a actual database of it by using this particular, you can make it in a Excel sheet and then sort out and filter your data so you can show quantitative analysis also along with it. And second thing, I wanted to show things like keyword coupling, how you can do citations. Now, you similarly, if you go to experiment with this software further, you go backwards, you can actually, in the similar manner, sorry, you can also do author-wise. Okay, you can do, you can find out and make a map based on the kind of authors which are there. So this is giving you a lot of other options. So if I want to say authors, I can select number of authors and there'll be a map of only authors' names if you're interested in that also you can do. So please go ahead and explore all these options. Now to end the session with quickly, because we're running out of time, I'll show you one or two papers which have been, you know, where they have used this thing. Let me zoom it in. Now, there's one paper on e-learning using bibliometric analysis from 2015 to 20, which has been there. All this is mentioned. So what they are trying to do is now they have showed things like related works. Now, how did they get related works? Because we have made those clusters based on related journals, etc. So you can write down that. Then I'm scrolling a little fast. Now, what basically has been done in this paper is what is available in that text box only has been put in Word format. So the same thing you can show as textual content. To support it further, you can show the table which has been derived. And then for a diagrammatic representation, you can show the diagrams and the clusters formed over there. Okay, so you can show which keywords you used. You can show who are the co-authors, most influential authors, most influential publications which are there based on citation. So you can do it like this. You can write down in your methodology which, which software you have used. Okay, you have used keyword coupling, you have used all of this in WASP software, you can mention that. Then you can show figures, okay? Now what you can do is this, you can prepare in the Excel sheet, you can prepare a graph. Now whatever Excel data I had, I can only select certain of these publications and make n number of graphs as I want to make. Like this person has made graph like this. Based on country wise also there's a selection which you can take, okay? So which countries have works maximum on this particular problem. By the end of it, you can even show that, see, developing nations are doing maximum research on this. Something of that sort you can conclude in the end. You can show language-wise which are the publications. All this is there in the WASP viewer. You just have to go and do a little bit of experiment according to your requirement. Okay. So see, you can mention it in English has got so many publications. So on, and see, this paper has come in a Springer journal, which means only by doing bibliometric analysis, you can actually make wonderful papers and make sense of it. And for your thesis, actually, let me tell you, if you're doing a review of literature and you're doing it in this manner, it will be far more interesting. And then you can team it up with systematic literature review so that you're also making sense of the journals which you have found out by doing this particular thing. Okay. Sorry, I'm moving a little fast because I want to wrap this up. Okay, see, you can show the clusters in this manner. You can show co-authorship network. That means these authors have written on similar note or similar terms, and you can do that. Okay, so all this is possible. And in the end, let me just go back to, so you can remember that the table which we prepared, you can put it in this format over here, okay, to show in your paper. Okay, most influential journals, most influential authors can be shown in this manner. See, they have put the journal names like this, and see, if you can see, they have put over here citation index and score they have put like this. So you can do it in this manner to present your data in a much better way. See over here also, okay, right? And 1 minute, there are some things in the chat box. Yes, that's what I was saying, Arushi. So instead of simply putting, data as in a box format, or you were just putting words after words, in review of literature, you can actually make it appear so interesting and, make some sense out of it. Yeah. So this is what you can do with it. Firdosa, if I can just take one more minute of a few, like 1 or 2 minutes more, I just want to wrap it up by showing just one thing more. Just one slide.
Kindly go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So there is something that I have made a note of. that people have done, along with something very interesting can be done. Okay, so one is, of course, literature review can be presented in a far beautiful manner. So imagine how beautiful your literature review will appear when you're showing first bibliometric, where you're showing lakhs of paper, and how you are showing a trend using those lakhs of papers. After showing the trend, you're narrowing it down further to the most relevant 100 papers, because you have filters which you can apply in Dimension software. Those 100 papers, you can actually conduct a systematic literature review. And in that review, you can say that I have done my literature review based on these 100 papers, which are the most popular papers in this particular domain area, and go deeper into that. By doing this, you have shown a quantitative and a macro view also, and you have shown a qualitative and a micro view also in your review of literature. And I think if you do something like that, the examiners or the reviewers are definitely going to be impressed. Okay, and so last thing to wrap up with, how else can you make sense out of it except for just your review of literature? You can actually study the life of a journal. So there's a particular journal which is known to be very good in a particular field. You can just track down over the years how has the journal contributed towards a particular topic, past and future, and all that you can do using this. You can comprehend overall discipline. And overall discipline means what? So we keep talking about AI every time, okay? But you can say AI and HRM across these years, across different countries, which countries are putting more focus in, this particular discipline, where are more papers coming from, which keywords, where is AI actually leading towards more. So if you see AI and medical a lot in your clusters, it is showing you that most of AI is being utilized in the medical field a lot. At least, see, again, one more thing, we can argue on this, because your Dimension and those softwares are number of papers written in that area. It doesn't mean in the overall world this much work is only happening, but at least what is our way of proving it? Our way of proving it is only databases from where we are taking the information. So it may look like a narrow way of looking at it, but that's the best viewpoint that we can possibly have, right? Then you can have, so we tend to usually make very loose statements like, there's maximum work happening in AI in the field of HRM. But what is there to support this? We end up citing somebody's paper and saying that this is said in this person's paper. And how far can we trust that person's paper? Only citation score of one person is not enough. But if you show this particular thing where lakhs of paper are pointing towards a direction, it can't be a better proof than that. Okay, you can actually make your construct or a variable based on them. So if you see that certain, so you get my point. If you prepare your thesis and then you run the bibliometric, it is possible that you'll get a shock of your life, because you have chosen 2 or 3 variables, but most people have not linked those 3 variables anywhere. But how about doing this in your proposal phase itself, where you come to know that these key terms are being used a lot? So you can assume that maybe they can become a good construct if you're doing SCM or a CFA or something. Okay, and study of an indexing agency. Maybe you can take WOS and you can take WOS database and see how many papers have been written through WOS. You can compare a WOS database with a Scopus database and see which one is showing better research in wine tourism or in a particular kind of an area. So these are the endless possibilities on which you can write papers. Okay, so this is what I wanted to wrap up with. I just hope I have been able to do justice in the amount of time that I had in hand. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, let's talk about the question answers. If there is any question, please raise your hands. We will take your questions one by one. Anyone wants to ask question? So please raise your hand.
I think there is no question from the participants. They have learned all and they do not have any
Okay.
confusion.
So let's close this
Yeah.
session. As we draw to close on.
Thank you so much. I can share the PPT. I'm getting some comments on this thing. I can share the PPT with you on no problem.
Okay. Shall we close this session now?
You can, give formal this, vote of thank you, then I
Okay.
will give the vote of.
Okay. As we draw to close on today's session led by Dr. Shivani.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry for this. Actually, there are 1 or 2 questions in chat box. Can you please read them?
Yes, I just read them. One of them is asking whether it can be used in writing thesis. Yes, absolutely. In fact, I was seeing there are some theses. If you go on Shodhganga and Flipnet, now you will get to see there are people who made thesis only on bibliometric. But you have to support bibliometric in the end with a systematic literature review also. You cannot just keep showing keywords and citations and clusters throughout your thesis. So if you're able to support it with something in the end, that will be great. And you should be able to show some policy decisions which can come out of it. Otherwise, it will be just diagrams and just circles and all. So it has to be supported with something, then it can be turned into a thesis. That is fine. How many papers should we take for SLR or for bibliography now? There is no such requirement, but I had read somewhere that if you're doing a research paper, at least your number of literature, your paper should definitely be in double digit. That's the bare minimum that should be there. And even your review of literature which you're giving in that paper, at least if somebody told me that you need to have at least 25 to cover. That should be, there's no such number as, yeah. I guess there's some disturbance. I thought somebody was asking something. Yes, you can use it in your research paper and thesis. Absolutely. For review of literature. It's a very good way of putting forward your review of literature. And if you want, I can also share one, just a minute. Sorry. I'm just taking more time, I guess. But if you want, I can also share one more very interesting thing for showing the flow of your research that you've done. If you can see this, one last thing from my side, because I just had to answer somebody's question. When you're writing your literature or doing a systematic review of literature, now you can take this Prisma 2020 flow diagram. If it is visible to you all, you can actually, you can actually show how you identified your papers, how you screened the papers, which papers you have included in your database. You can take the information you got from your Boss Viewer software and you can put them into numbers here to show your flow of including papers in your research, so that your review of literature looks amazing. It makes a lot of sense for the reviewers also. Yeah, so I'll share this also with you. Don't worry about it.
Krishnava, please go ahead with your remarks.
I think questions are complete. Let's close this session. We have embarked on a journey through bibliometric analysis and the transformative capabilities of softwares. Dr. Shivani expertise has illuminated the potential of these tools in uncovering research trends and enhancing scholarly impact. Her insights into navigating the complexities of academic literature and harnessing data-driven strategies have empowered us to chart new paths in our research endeavors. Her dedication to advancing research methodologies and commitment to academic excellence have set a high standards for all of us. Moving forward, let's integrate these learnings into our research practices. Aiming to make meaningful contributions to our fields, we extend our heartfelt thanks to Dr. Shivani for guiding us through this enriching session. And thank you, Dr. Firdaus, for inviting me and letting me conduct this session as a moderator, and look forward to applying these newfound skills with purpose and determination. Thank you, everyone, for your active participation and engagement. Here's to continued growth and innovation in our academic pursuits. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Krishnava. Let me give formal vote of thanks on behalf of Jammu and Kashmir Economic Association. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Professor Shivani for conducting meticulous and insightful bibliometric analysis, we can say, because a lot of doubt has been cleared, and I have seen first time such a workshop or such a lecture which is so much fruitful and so much simple. So Professor Shivani, your dedication to research and expertise in bibliometric analysis have truly enriched our understanding. The way you have shown that how scholarly trends and contribution in this field, the depth of the software and your analysis and the clarity with which you presented the findings have been provided valuable insights for all of us. Your commitment to academic excellence and your willingness to share your knowledge with a short call when I have asked you for the session with us has been truly commendable. Your efforts in guiding us through the complexity of bibliometric analysis, which have been invaluable, and we are grateful for the expertise and the guidance you have provided throughout this process. We are confident that the results of your analysis and your lecture will not only benefit our current research endeavor, but also pave the way for the future scholarly pursuit in the field. Your contributions will undoubtedly leave a lasting impact on our academic community. Once again, thank you, Professor Shivani, for your time, dedication, and expertise in conducting this bibliometric analysis. Your passion for research and commitment to excellence are truly inspiring. We are privileged to have you had the opportunity to benefit from your knowledge and guidance. Once again, I am thankful to Khushnuba for accepting, at a very short notice and, delivering the session smoothly. Thank you very much, all of you. So participants, there is feedback link in the, chat box. You have to fill it. And now you can, if you have any point to the discussion, you can.
Thank you so much for those. Thank you, JK Economic Association, Kushnaba ma'am, and all the people from the organizing committee for this wonderful opportunity. And thank you to all my fellow researchers for making this session so fruitful. We can connect otherwise also for, for any research-based initiatives. Thank you so much, sir.
So before we ending, I would like to ask the participants to open their camera for a group photo. And if you want to connect with Professor Shivani, you can reach to her LinkedIn number. We are going to share post on our LinkedIn page. Therefrom, you can connect with her. Participants, only those who are in a good position to open the camera, they can open the camera. Else, there is no need to open the camera if you are not in a good state. So thank you. I'm going to take 4 shots. There are 4 screens available for the photo. Thank you once again very much, all of you. Now you can leave the session. We will be going to meet tomorrow, inshallah, for R software and Python. We are going to learn tomorrow R and Python. Install R software. We will be having tomorrow. Thank you. I'll be sharing this feedback link on your WhatsApp number also. So this on your WhatsApp group where you can, also, make the attendance. So once away, so away. मुदन करे आज join चोइस तो मुझे क्या करा? ये म्यूट छुप.
İzan bıççı sevaz.
Feedback link हम share करेंगे. We are going to share the feedback link on WhatsApp, chat, yes, group. So don't worry. Feedback link try man WhatsApp. So all are requested, to leave the group as we are going to wind up the session. Unless you are not leaving, so we are unable to, close the meeting. So it is kind request to, kindly leave the group so that we can wind up, and feedback link you will be getting on WhatsApp. You are requested to leave the group.
इनको को तो ही करन कि पाने गसन
मुझसे गोई कर मुझे जॉब को भी उनसे शो वही है ना कई तरह उनसे
कौन सा
इरफान अंत कर गंदी नो
यस मेरे पास ठीक है जी तो
पता है ठीक मगर ना पर था मुश्किल सॉरी ठीक है ना वीडियो को चलो
हां वीडियो
बस
चलो क्या
कसा एंगेज में सबसे वीडियो ऑन
तमसे ओस मगर सोस मेरे पास तमस या तो कैमरा हस तमस क्या इशू
बस तेरा एंगेज तुमसे बात प्रेजेंटेशन वर्ड ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट की जरूरत
चलो बकरो जो लियो पर ठीक है
है हाँ
ठीक
पैसे लिए तो वगैरह ही है